Greeting and welcome everyone to the Perfect Balance Trad class, the place where conscious-minded individuals are encouraged and guided towards a full development of their potential through the powers of collective reasoning. We have with us Okavango, Yaga, Bingi, and I'm yours truly, Ras Dada. Yes, sir. What going with the item, my lad?
Give thanks.
Yeah,
Give
man.
thanks,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Yeah, man. I say
It's
energy
a
come from
joy.
Bingi.
It's a joy to be
Naturally.
here, you know.
Yeah, man. Give thanks to the movement.
Representing the views of Africans and
Yes,
African
sir.
people, you know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That
Yes,
is
sir.
that is the aim. Pan-Africanism, you know what I mean?
Issues that
Yeah,
affect
man.
us as African people, you
Yeah,
know?
man. Pan-Africanism, man. Right, true, man.
We need to
sir.
take
True.
something from the ants and the bees, them.
Yeah, man, that collective organized civilization, you know? Yeah, man, where each one help one and make the work
Everybody
lighter,
is
you know?
for the hive.
Yes,
Hive
sir.
we are dealing
Yes,
with.
sir.
You know
Yes,
what I mean?
sir.
And
I
all
just
our
said them,
effort just aim for the hive, and we don't have nothing,
Yes,
we don't see nothing else.
Yes, sir.
You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean?
We don't make ego getting out of the way.
Yeah, man. We said there's some things
Yes,
that go
sir.
over this and some things that go over this, but guess what? We just work for the hive.
Yes, sir.
Just work for the hive. We're not busy
Everyone
about
upon a
war.
mission. Everyone upon a mission.
On a mission,
Everyone
man. Everybody have them. Everybody have their role, and everybody just stick to them role. And
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I do you think?
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
man.
Yes, sir. They know
Pan-Africanism.
that today now we have a very interesting reasoning. We are talking by the one Yaga, aka Teacher Mahat, you know. We are going to reason a little bit about Maroons and them history in Jamaica and them connections and, you know, what our views are, you know, whether we are pro or anti-Maroon, you know. But as still one black family. You know, sometimes you have a little bad cousin where, you know, but you still have to love them same way. You see?
What about uncle?
You know, come on, I see him setting.
I think I have uncle, you know.
Yes, sir, yes, man. That's why you come in, man. Real
The
talk.
whole
You see me?
family tree.
Whole
Yeah,
family.
man. So we do want to remind the viewers to subscribe, like, share. You know, put your comments in the comment section. Be a part of the reasoning. Be a part of the journey. You know, because this is a movement for a better African nation, and we want to be active in that front. On that front. This is the Perfect Balance short class. Thank you.
So yeah, Ras, the argument about Maroons, right, as a people. But who are these people that we call Maroon? Who are they?
The Maroons would be, as them use the terminology of runaways,
Right. So
who did go through oppression and decide say them now go take that, them a go rebel, them a go take with themselves and oppose the oppression.
so in reality,
So
the Maroon are several different tribesmen, right? That's who they are, or people, because we're talking about Africa, right? So they're Africans by nature, and they have come from more than likely the West African coast, right? West. So what I was saying is because these are African people, you know, we identify them as Maroons. But back to Ra's point, they are indigenous just because they are African people. That's what makes them indigenous. Then when you say the Maroons are Africans, right? That's who they are.
Really? Not necessarily.
No,
Yeah, you have Maroons that are not Africans.
where?
I didn't know that.
If I Suriname, all over.
So them
why you
people
say
in
they're not
Suriname
Africans?
are Africans.
Why you say they're not Africans?
They are Africans.
Because we are talking about people we call indigenous people. So remember saying, you know, the people them, even if you want to say people left from Africa before colonization, right? Before European them come here. When we are talking about indigenous people, we are talking about them people there where they there before that.
Prior to colonialism.
Yeah. And then the people we are talking about.
So what
And
me I
them
say,
the people there,
African
see them the
people were
people
there
there.
prior to colonialism too.
Prior colonialism.
Yeah.
African people were there pre-colonialism.
That don't prove that.
It had no proof of that? Yeah, man, it had proof of that. So the migration, human being migrating, right? Where did the migration itself start from for human beings? All of humanity. We could only go by what is recorded, right? So according to the records that we have, scientifically, where did the human migration start from?
Yeah, so according to science, according to science. And
No,
science cannot be 100%, right? So
no,
okay, yeah. So let's say science said the first human was in Africa, right?
right.
Yeah, that's what science said. So, because them find
You
the
can't
bone and
dispute the science.
them test it and whatever. But
Right.
at one point, the first human, was in Kenya, You know that, right?
So where Kenya is?
No, I'm not trying to. Hold on. At one point, the first human was originated in Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
And then it changed now to Ethiopia,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying something else can come up where it changed to China.
Well,
What
we only going on evidential knowledge. We're not talking about hypothetical.
No, based on and not every weapon on earth then dig up, we say, okay, if they find a bone, and every section of earth and dig up, then just find that
there are a lot of archaeological evidence to suggest that Kemet is the beginning of civilization, and the representation is there to this day, where the pyramids them is there to demonstrate and show that.
Yeah, there's civilization.
Civilization.
Yeah, there's civilization too. But civilization is not the original human beings, though. You know what I mean? Human beings were around before civilization.
Civilization are organized living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humans are traveled earth before civilized.
Mm-hmm.
Because people still, even now people live as nomads. You understand? Even now.
Well, nomad don't mean you're not civilized.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. What is civilization?
Where I come from.
Right?
You have people where they live uncivilized today.
Yes, sir.
Right.
You have people where they live uncivilized today.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
to
so
the point, we can only talk about what we know. We can't talk about things we speculate about, right? So that being said, we're going to get to a point where we pick and choose what we want to pick and choose. We can't do that. We can only deal with what is present.
Yeah, but like I said, what we know right now is not everything, because every section of the earth is not
fully explored.
Yeah, but we are dealing with that.
So
dealing with that.
So until you research the entire earth and dig up everything and find everything, you guys say, okay.
Then you bring that information there forward.
Yeah,
but
we have to just
until then, it doesn't matter.
Right now, them say the first human find in Africa. But they say, the chance say that until the whole earth.
No,
Pretty. This is being done. Just like how them dig up in Africa, right? Just like how them dig up in Africa, them dig up in other places as well. And they beat these ones, and they have their oldest ones. And out of all of them, they say this is the one that is oldest.
What that? Just like, where did Kenya it come from?
Right.
And then them go dig up one part of Ethiopia.
Right. We agree with that. Agree with that.
So me I say them can dig up one part of India.
But
let's be clear about what you talking about, right? What I talking about. The Ethiopia and Kenya is the same region, East Africa, right? Ethiopia being the horn is the same region. So they move out of the region. So they move from one region to the next and find it. So it validated. It's more validated.
So hear this now. Africa, Ethiopia, and India was one piece of land too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The earth was one piece of land.
So the earth was one place.
Easily could have been India. They look in the easy pick up India and find the first human being. The oldest one.
But we disagree with that.
Then it wouldn't be Africa.
No, but we are talking about ifs. We're not talking about possibilities. We are talking about what we know now.
Is there.
No,
yes,
we're talking about now.
Yes, hold on.
No.
Hold on, Brady. Yes, it is. The possibility is there that in the future, right?
But we're not dealing with that.
Current data supports that this is where the oldest representation of the life form existed.
Current data suggests according to current data, the oldest thing with them find is from Africa, but that
Got
doesn't say that's where humanity come
And
from.
that is scientifically proven.
No, but I'm saying not them find the oldest
Right.
human
in
remains in
Ethiopia.
Africa, but that doesn't say that is where all humans come from.
But at present,
At present, we
It
do
does.
it now.
You
at
can't
present
say
it
that.
does.
You don't
we
don't
could-
say
All right. For example,
all humans come from Ethiopia.
use a simpler thing for secondly. Use a simpler thing for secondly.
You can't take it.
Athletics,
Yeah.
athletics, right?
Yeah.
A world record exists only up to the point where someone breaks it.
Right.
So before Usain Bolt break the world record, it was Asafa Powell.
Right.
And when Usain Bolt break the record, there was always a possibility that somebody was going to break the record, you know. But it only
That is
happened
the new
when it
that
break.
is the new world record. One of these
There you go. There you
reasoning.
go.
What?
There you go.
Even
There
if
you
no
go.
break yet.
That is not a good comparison.
It's an excellent
No,
comparison.
it's not. It's not a good comparison because
It's not a comparison, it's an analogy.
it's not a good one either. So what I'm saying, the person that live this oldest person, they already live and already die. The new record is something that is to come. It's a part of something that comes then and something
bring
that
the
to come.
evidence.
But the record that's
Bring the
gonna break it
evidence.
is somebody who already live and passed already too.
No,
Bring the
not a
evidence.
record to come. A record to come. The present record is something that's present.
Listen.
The record who's gonna break is somebody in the future gonna break that.
Listen,
The
no.
person
no,
that
no,
live,
no,
the
no,
person
hold on,
that
listen,
live already
listen,
live
listen,
already. They already
listen,
done
listen.
already.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. The oldest person that lived on the
and died
earth
already.
is a record.
The
Is a
oldest
record.
person
Hold
that
on,
lived
brother.
and died already.
Right, is a
Yes.
record, right? And if they come upon an older one to set a new record, that person is already live and die already too. So we're talking about records, right? So what
Brother,
we're saying is that
The
when we have
oldest
a
person is
record,
not a record. The oldest person is not a record. It's a
it is
fact.
a record.
No, it's not a record. What is not a record?
It's
Record what?
recorded history. It's a
It's not a record
record.
like what?
It's a record.
So
It is a record.
who was the oldest person that lived and died already?
I can't recall the name.
The name is Denkanish.
Person.
Is Denkanish?
Denkanish.
Oh, that was it, Kenya. I think it's Denkanish.
I don't remember the name what I'm assigned to the person.
Maybe Denkanish was Kenya.
Let's say the remains.
It was a female body.
So
But you talk about the one in a something
Mm.
but again, right? You hear what we're dealing with, right? How we choose the evidence we choose based on a bias, right? Now, I talk about the oldest person that ever lived, and we talk about Africans being the first, right? Out of Africa. Now you have choose the oldest person based on the information you choose that is right too, right? Because if I look in right now, right, and I was to say, hey, who's the oldest recorded person? I don't come up with a name, right? I come up with some, right? So,
some white lady,
right, they 122 years old, right? Which we know is a fallacy.
Human fossil.
No.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Hold on.
you talking about human fossil?
Yeah.
Ah,
It belongs to genus Astar. Okay, what kind of long red is? Okay, whatever long red is, and is 3.65 million years old. It is by far the most complete human skeleton. Okay, maybe this is not the oldest one.
This one, the one I found says the oldest human fossil ever found is the Omo 1 remains, which were discovered in Ethiopia in the 1960s.
Right.
The Omo 1 remains were found in the Omo Kibish Formation in southwestern Ethiopia within the East African Rift Valley.
yeah, man.
A 2022 study published in Nature determined that the Omo 1 remains are around 233,000 years old
Yes,
with
sir.
a 22,000 year margin of error. The Omo 1 remains include a skull bone, a lower jaw, and parts of a torso. Right.
So again, right? We talking about how we choose information because now remember I say the oldest person who was in well some other name, right? But when you look now, we see it go back to the land, right? So this start back off to Africa, in it, but we back in Africa and Ethiopia again, right? We come full circle. So even the oldest person that ever lived and died is from Africa. Is from Africa. We come straight back around, right?
So the oldest person that lives and dies from Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. It says that right there.
Yeah, I think that's what we live something like 600 years old, right?
Yeah.
I remember I always why am I not passing that over there?
But what may I say, because we kind of gone from the reasoning, you know.
I know,
Yeah,
man.
man.
I say,
It's,
the
no, the reason
reason,
is
you
full
know.
circle.
I say
Right.
reason, star,
It's
man. I say
full
reason,
circle.
star, man.
So what may I say? What may I say is this. May I say, the Maroons, right? Even if we disagree that they are not indigenous to the areas where they reside currently, have attained indigenous status on a let me use political level there.
Right.
In terms
They
of
recognize.
indigenous status
Right.
is something that is awarded on the international
Yeah, man. So them indigenous, like our Rasta indigenous Jamaica.
Right.
So that is the indigenous we're talking about. You understand? So we're saying
But hold on, we're not talking about indigenous then, I talk about indigenous like
as
say.
in actually coming from the place.
From the place.
But I'm saying there
So
are
when you speak of
Maroons
when
in
you
these places who
He
actually
talking
come
about
from
the
the place
original
too.
people of the land.
What?
Right.
That's
You
what
have
I'm speaking of. The original people on the land. Yeah.
You have Maroons, my
not the
love.
one them
You
in
have-
Jamaica.
Yes, man, Maroons
No.
in Jamaica, brother.
That's what they want to claim, but no.
Why you
They're
say
not.
they want to claim it?
Because they're not from there.
Oh, extensively have you studied their history?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit. All right. So what connection do they have to the Tainos?
I don't know of them having not one connection to the Tainos.
Why you say that? What evidence
Because
you
we
need
don't
to
see,
support
they
that?
don't have nothing for no Tainos. All them have is all them retentions is African retention. They come from Ghana, Nigeria, them place there.
Yeah,
They
the
don't
West
have
Coast.
no Taino in retention of them.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, Maroons are African people.
Yeah.
We fought as slave and run me go live up in a hilltop of so.
The majority of them. The majority of them.
And the rest of what?
Indigenous people.
From where?
In the rest of what? From the places. So all right, let me ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
You have today the word extinct, right? The word extinct. Right? The word extinct. Does it mean a total eradication?
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
But
right?
based on my understanding, yeah.
No, it depends. It depends, Yaga, because you can be extinct because
then you're below a certain number.
yeah.
You're below a certain number. So it's not
All
a
right.
total
Yaga, you see
eradication.
if
Dinosaurs are extinct.
totally.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
But there are animals that are
but Yaga,
extinct.
say you have one species of dog, right? And you have all of the males then dead and left all the female them extinct, you know.
Them extinct.
Yeah. Because them can't, no more of them can't go on again.
No more procreation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
right? But adaptation can still go on. Because life, you know, I got adapt to carry on.
That's where I say, I'm already at about.
No, the point of where I make is that, right? Although them tell us that a lot of these indigenous people were extinct, it don't mean that everybody out of the population did dead off. Just like how African people did runway in the hills, figure survive, you have these indigenous people. Remember, say I feel them land, you know, them are bush people same way, you know, who did in the hills and live same way. And the African people, them when them run with them go in the hills, go meet up and link with them same way. So where they talk about?
And we were of the opinion
that's a possibility. That's a possibility. That's a possibility.
Are extinct, and now we are hearing that there's a community of Arawak present in Jamaica.
Tainos the cross
They
the
all
Caribbean,
over.
brother.
They all over.
Tainos the cross the Caribbean, brother.
Yeah, but in Jamaica in particular, we have no knowledge of them.
No, we never have no knowledge of them.
No, Jamaica, which Arawak?
They're not Arawak, they're Taino.
Taino.
Oh.
So they are coming out now. There's a group. There's a community.
From where?
Jamaica. In Jamaica, there's a community in Jamaica.
But Jamaica is a small place, you know, so come on. If Taino live in Jamaica all these years, where them there?
That's what everyone is wondering.
There's no place
where
for
they are hearing from now.
them thing there to me, the Maroon thing there about being indigenous, to me, I want them thing there where African people are trying to be African. Them are trying to be something else. They put them in the same region then with the African, then we are saying them are Israelite and African, say everything else to take themselves out of Africa.
No,
Take the
but
Africans out of them.
Maroon hold on to most
And
of
them
them
African.
them African traditions and them African rituals.
Eh?
They hold
What
on to most of their traditions and their African
yes, but
values.
that's it. Those people, man, them are African. The people are African. I mean, people are African. All of them retentions is African retention. They not have no Taino retention.
All right, listen to this. Right? The Google search is Taino people within Jamaica. Right? The Yamaye Taino people in Jamaica. Okay? The Yamaye / Jamaican, which Yamaye would be the Arawak word for Jamaica, right? Population is estimated at about 3,000 individuals. The community is represented at the local and international levels by the Yamaye Guani Council. Yamaye Taino comprises 3 groupings: enrolled members of the Yamahe Guayina Taino people who have received their Yamaye Aire, name of the land, through their commitment to preserving the culture. Enrolled members of Yamaye Guayina Taino people who have not yet received their Yamaye Aire, and families who have opted not to enroll, preferring to remain hidden until Yamaye Taino receive formal recognition of their indigenous identity and rights in Jamaica. The Yamaye Taino community benefits from a strong relationship with Yenkunkung Pikibu, which are Jamaican Maroons.
Ooh.
Right?
Dada,
So, yeah.
Dada, you are
Mhm.
reading this in there. Remember, say nobody can write this in there, no man.
Brother, this
So,
is something
let
about
me
the
ask you now.
people's group.
Jamaica is a small place. Where are these people? Where them there?
My lord, you know what the issue
All
is? This is
over,
what the issue
man.
is. This is what the issue
It's
is. The issue is,
Bingy,
no, hold
you
on,
see,
hold
just
on.
like the
You
Maroon
ask a
them,
question.
where I make
You
up
ask a
things say,
question.
what are
You
they?
ask a question. No, you ask a question. You ask a question. You see, the issue what we're having here is that you are looking for physical
a physical
differentiations
feature.
because you can look
No,
on these
no.
people
You
and
look for the group of
identify
people,
them
where them there?
different
Where
to a
them there?
Jamaica.
I don't know, I
Then
say,
in
where
a
them there?
Jamaica, them in a Jamaica.
Where in
Them have,
Jamaica?
the organization said them register 3,000
Dada,
people.
Dada.
The I say where the
Somebody,
village there.
you see, all right. So
Mhm.
you see them people there. Come see them on the royalty, you know. I say,
Mhm.
cause we see even the Maroon people. Them I say, boy, them are Taino and them sitting there, you know.
Mhm. All right,
But
so
I
wait, you
just
say
some
where, right?
people.
You
Listen,
say
to
where, right?
what I'm making fun
Mhm.
I just
Mhm.
some people just start say them are Taino, you know. They don't have no connection with no Taino at all, you know.
You can't say that neither, brother.
Yes, me can say
You
that. Me
cannot
say
say
a while
that,
ago.
brother, because you have people who family carry on them culture, brother, and pass on them culture.
Dada,
So.
me meet people where I say, boy, their grandmother said them are this and that and
Then I say the
whatever.
culture pass on, brother, so you can't devalue
But
that.
I lie,
Brother,
them
So,
I
how the
tell.
so,
culture pass on?
Okavango, let me just say this, right? As the
You
I
know,
speak of that, right?
African them.
So let
What
me
want me
tell
do?
you of I personal experience in life still, right? My family lineage started off with Taino, who they call Arawak. So the I think what you were talking about is identity, right? So there's a mixture happening between the Africans and the Taino people.
Right,
So what
right,
you have is interbreeding, right?
right.
Interconnection. So now the makeup is changing, the features are changing as well. So we could see that when I look at my grandfather, for example, all you see is a short indigenous man. That's all you see. He look Taino, straight hair, all of that, all of the features when you look at him, that's what you see. But with the
Right.
time and mixing, them features
Of the
slowly
nations.
change too.
Change.
And
Evolution
the African gene is
is
the most
strong. It's a
dominant,
dominant. It's a
not
dominant gene.
strong. It's the
It's a
most
dominant gene.
dominant gene. So even with that, you have that. You say, where are they? But they all over. Like, for example, in
No, we
Trinidad.
go answer to
So
In
the where I
Trinidad.
know. Well, I know. Them have that information as well.
now confuse me now. Because
Where you are?
one moment you know say them come from Africa and then one moment you say African gene stronger. Right? So so them are African or them are not African.
That is a good point. But you making a clear distinction
The
about who
African genes is
Taino
always
people
dominant.
is and who African people
So
is,
are
right?
they African or they are not
They
African?
all
The African genes is always
the
dominant,
African
so you can claim
descendants.
African
So
ancestry.
you guys agree with me that people don't come from other places different from Africa then? And not everybody come from Africa.
My
No,
lord, this is what me I say, right? This is what
no,
me I
No.
say.
we
Well
not
on
saying
man,
that. We not saying that.
everybody
Mhm.
everybody come from Africa or they not come from Africa. Because if it's so, the African gene cannot be stronger than the Taino gene because they're the
Yes,
same people.
no,
African
no,
genes
it can.
is a dominant gene.
It can.
So that
The
but if the
original.
Tainos are African also.
You
Or
know
you
what me
can
I
say
say?
African
You know what me
is
I say?
stronger.
You know what me I say, right?
So
You
what
see,
we
you have a thing called um evolution. See?
evolution.
You have a
There you
thing
go.
called evolution.
Yes,
See?
Yes,
Which people down to them very DNA, down to them very genetic makeup, change based off of a lot of factors. Environmental factors, climatic factors, you name it, can cause people think to change. So through the migration, according to what we learned, through the migration, when these people come through the migration, right? Them evolve to survive in the present geographical locations where them settle, right? So as this happens to generation after generation after generation,
adaptation and
they
change.
adapt to
Yeah,
these locations, right? But what we're saying is that these people that we consider indigenous people, right? These people that we consider indigenous people around the world, right? What we say is they can be traced to Africa. Reason why we say they can be traced to Africa is when we look at stuff like their architecture, right? When we look at stuff like their crafts, when we
Their
look at
food.
stuff like their food, we
little
look at stuff
words.
like, you understand what I'm saying? And then when you go now and you look at certain features again, because in those days when the evolution never as apparent, them record stuff even in terms of sculpting, right? In terms of sculpting, when them do sculptures of people in those times. And
Right.
when you look at features like their lips, like them noses, you can see the African features in them. You understand? So this is why we can identify and say these indigenous people from around the world globally can be traced to Africa. Yeah.
All them things they say a while ago
Mm-hmm.
are because I'm a human being. Human beings do things alike all over the world.
Human beings do things alike all over the world, but people, according to them culture, do things in a
Customs.
particular way.
May I stick a pin, right?
Mm-hmm.
May I go back to the African origins argument,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So based upon what you guys are saying,
Mm-hmm.
the white man,
Bona guys.
one of guys, the white man, what the white man say,
Mm-hmm.
them are the first human being on earth. So them could be right then.
When them
That's
say
what we
that.
grew up. That's
When
what we
them
grew
say
up
that.
thinking.
Anyone? Listen. This
Wait.
is how
No, may I
science
say,
works.
may I say them could be right.
You have a thing. You have a thing called.
Wait.
You have a thing called the scientific principle, right?
Yeah.
You have a thing called the scientific principle, and is a specific way where you establish fact. Right? It's a specific way that you establish fact. So what you do, you come up with a hypothesis. Caucasians were the first humans on this planet. Hypothesis. Then you go through experimentation, evaluation, analyzation, right? So now you come up with a, what you call that again? And what we
Theory.
call it a theory. You come up with a theory, right? You come up with a theory now. So with the theory now, then you have to now go ahead now and prove that theory until it becomes a fact, right? So anybody can say they were anything, but then once it goes through the scientific principle, you can establish it now as a fact or not. You understand? So African people being established as the oldest people on the planet is already been through the scientific principle and established as factual, and not just by a close margin, not just by any 100 years or 200 years. You understand? Not just by anything like.
White people are African. Based upon what you must say. White people are African people too. They were all
Originally,
They come back down to adaptation.
They were all originated in Africa. So I'm saying they could have originated in Africa as Africans and through migration leave and go to Europe because if you are trouble, that means that you have if people who start trouble first, right? Are going to reach farther, right?
right.
Right?
Not necessarily.
Not
Not
necessarily.
necessarily.
That's
Yeah.
most likely would happen.
No,
No,
not
no,
necessarily.
no.
Yeah, but most likely because of the
No,
kind of reason
no.
for
I
you.
think sometimes the people who travel last go end up
Yeah.
further. Because the
Because
people who
the
start
one
first, they
before
go
paving
second.
the
Okay,
way.
forget about that. Forget about that. Forget about
Yeah.
that. So then start travel and then
Right.
reach Europe. And then reach Europe, right? And if I say the people them where are the last people them now. Not travel so far, right? Still not the same spot, still not start travel yet, right?
In the same spot and don't travel as yet.
Yeah, man, they don't start travel yet.
Right. These are the original
But
people.
African
But these
still the
Europeans
one
are
they know.
Europeans are not Africans. Let's dispel that right away.
No, based on the origin of
reason that
human argument
everybody's
with them
from
push,
Africa.
them come from Africa too. They are African too. Chinese, they are African too. And the people
Alright.
are African too. All of them are
Alright.
African.
All right. Here I'm gonna say. You see, we as Rafari identify ourselves as African, right?
Yeah.
But if a person got you a census or got you a governmental thing, them go identify and say, oh, Jamaican or Trinidad.
You're talking
Well,
about Indigenous, you know. We're not talking about nationality, you know. We're not mix up nationality. Yeah.
The reason why we identify ourselves as African is because we align ourselves to Africa, right? But we are also African through lineage as well, you know, in terms of genetic transfer, right? We are African. See? Now, the people who settle in Europe, Caucasian people, after this migration, right? Them go through them evolution because of the climate and everything, and them now lose melanin, them do all of these things. Them go through these adaptations. When them come out now, them disassociate themselves from where them come from. Could be for any reason too, you know. Could be for any reason too, because it depends on the reason why them left. Because the migration never just solely sometime just because, oh, we just want to move, you know. Sometimes them forced to move to, you know. Whether it's by war or disagreement or anything. And you understand what I say? So them move and them come. So based on even why them left to them disassociate themselves. It is a thing, is a reasoning where it's very difficult to come and say, yo, these are the reality of the reasoning. You get what I'm saying? But what we are saying is currently, based off of experimental data, the oldest remains have been traced to the continent.
And that
And as
person,
such,
and that person, based on what I say, could have been a white person.
So why you say Okavango? Them are African. The European, them are African.
Me I say,
No, that-
me I
that's what I
say,
say, and that's
me I
what I
tell
say.
you say, and that you know I say.
Really, that man I say all this time.
If humans originate in Africa,
From Africa,
then
that means that
everybody
everyone
is
is African.
Yes, everybody are African. So more and more the eye them and say everybody are African.
No, me not answer that.
Bingy, me now hear Bingy.
Oh, yeah. I actually, yes.
Chinese
yes.
are African. Japanese are everybody are African. One Bingy, sorry.
No, well, here what we talking about, right? We talking about Africans. When we say Africans, right, we are identifying a certain ethnic group of people, right? No matter where you are on this earth and you have a skin tone like I and I, we are Africans. You have here texture like I and I, we are Africans. But there's also that linkage, as the I say, through ancestry too, right? So we know that. What we talking about is Africans evolving over time into different ethnic groups, different ethnicities, right? We still dealing with the human beings. We only have one race. So we dealing with the African now. turning into different ethnic groups over a period of time, which is normally thousands of years, right? So the original man, yes, is African. Today, he has become different ethnicities that populate the earth through migration. That's why, and I say biologically, there's no difference between any human being. There's no
So,
difference. What is different is here, think about what you're talking about. You're talking about degenerative effects in humanity. It's all degenerative. The reason why, even during slavery,
It's
we were
only
enslaved.
phenotypical. It's only
Yeah,
phenotypical
yeah,
differences.
you're
It's
talking
only
about
phenotypical
degenerative
changes.
effects in humanity. So you
So,
see a
so why I
reduction
say
here,
the difference is
sin.
man-made.
Yeah, but there's no biological difference. Yes, we say in all human beings, their fathers are
All
African.
you.
We are.
so we as Africans now should stop claiming then that we are says the African is they are the first humans then.
No, we must say that because those of us who have
But
not
everybody are the
been
first human.
affected,
Everybody
no
are the
wait,
first human thingy.
those of us who have not been affected through migration hold the original principle, the original identity. So that's why we
Thingy.
can claim that.
If there was a first human that
No, when you say
originated in
first,
Africa,
right,
let's say
right,
that originated in Africa, that first human or humans ran short over the world. So all of us human is that first human, right?
No,
Yeah, you can cite what you say. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, all of us. So tough to be as a thing there. All of us is just human.
yeah, we are.
So no African on the land, no our way. Because this, you know what they come from, you know, them are talk about the black skin, you know.
Yes,
But
which
what me
is
I
your
say,
first, which is your first identity.
all of us is just humans.
Yes,
Yeah, all
yes,
of us is human all over the world. There is no
yes.
first human. There's no first human. I want to tell you,
Yeah.
boy, I'm here first human. So me I say,
So,
Africans
so
don't feel
where's the
claim no first
difference?
humanship.
Where's the difference coming from?
But that I say, people live in a different place and the environmental.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But all of us are the same thing. And we are the same thing. You know what I mean?
No, but
we
we
ever
are.
talk about one over this first human and them African come as a first and rare.
There are differences, man.
Africans come from everywhere.
There are physical differences and there are
somewhere.
genotype difference as well.
You can. You could make that distinction. A human being started somewhere. So that's why we can make that distinction. So I am older than you because I've been on the earth longer than you. You can make that distinction. You older than your child because you've been here.
Based on present data.
Yes.
Based on present data.
We can make that distinction.
Let us accommodate that in the reasoning. Based on present data.
But I think for most of human beings, we deal with now.
What?
We're saying that that humans originated in this area of the world.
Yeah.
Based on present data.
So based on present data, humans
originate in this
a certain part of the world. Let's say Ethiopia, right? But that's what they say right now, right?
Right.
And then humans spread out all of the world. So everybody on the earth, every human is Ethiopian, African Ethiopian.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Based on that simple logic.
Yes. Right.
So what we're saying
everybody
is,
can claim this. So all
like
humans.
but you
talking about national identity, right?
What we're talking about?
We reason the other day about Mark Golding, right, and dual citizenship, right?
Yeah.
And what we end up come to the consensus that him supposed to give up him UK citizenship and hold on to him Jamaican citizenship. He come out and say him go renounce him UK citizenship, so him disassociate himself from there. So as these people migrate, right, for whatever reason, either the culture break or them personally have reasons why them say them are disassociate themselves from these areas.
We don't know,
you understand? Right. We don't know that. We don't know. But we're saying this is what happening. So this is why, all right, for example, we can put it this way, right? All right. We have migration currently in the world where people from all over the world go to different countries, right? When these people move, let's say a person from Italy, I could use that word, Italy, go to a place like, say, Canada. When him go there, him still maintain him Italianness, right? Him still identify as Italian. If they move, go to another country, them still maintain themselves as Italian. Once them get to a point where them stop seeing themselves as Italian, right? Them lose them connection with Italy. No, them not see themselves as Italian no more. Then we tell us, listen, I am not Italian, I am Canadian. And the more generations that stay there, you go find say that become more likely to happen. You have people, however, who, no matter how many generations, them outside of their indigenous homeland, them still maintain that connection to them homeland.
But I think
And
that's true
still,
for a lot of people, the rats.
right, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
This is the point
yeah.
I'm saying. But so I'm saying that with the migration, the great migration, what we are referred to, you have a lot of people who over time disassociate themselves from the original place and establish a new identity of themselves. You understand what
Yeah,
I'm
so
saying?
that's a whole culture now. Because people left from one place and them form their own culture.
Right.
Develop their own way of living
Right.
and thing. You know what I
And
mean?
create a new
And then
identity.
and then we call them Chinese or Asians.
Whatever.
Right?
Right.
And then
Right.
people at the next place develop different culture. And we call them
themselves Caucasian.
we call them Africa. And we call them Caucasian. And we call
Right.
them
No,
whatever we
but
want to call
Africa
them.
was the
But
original.
we may have said them are the same humans. So
Yeah.
right.
Right,
So
we agree. We don't
We're not
disagree
talking
with that.
about that.
so hold on now. So when we're talking about African now,
Mhm.
right? And we're talking about indigenous people from the Caribbean, the Americas, right?
Okay.
We not talk about the same people. They talk about two different we call it identity or cultures.
Ethnicity.
Yeah. So me know why when me say indigenous American them, we not gonna say boy them are African too.
Yeah, but them African too, brother.
So when we talk about white, so that yeah, about the island
Alright.
again, man. We
Alright,
establish all them African already.
Listen to me now. The
Brother,
a
no,
couple
what
years
man?
ago.
We
A couple years
establish a
ago.
while ago say all of them come
Right.
from Africa. White people come from Africa, Chinese come from Africa. But
Right.
we talk about Africa now. We talk about in a how we see it in a present day where we have Caucasians, the Africans, the Asians, right? And then you have the people from the Americas.
So may I tell us these people in the Americas, the other day, a couple years ago, me there Brooklyn, and me end up book up some Taino people, and they were promoting one of their annual festivals, right? For example, it's like how we have Bingi, right? Them have a festival like that in at the time. I think it was either in upstate New York or Pennsylvania, them did have it, right? And them give out flyers, invite people to come at the celebration, right?
It's crop over.
Which like them would have depict it.
Yeah.
Me don't know if a crop over them call it.
I know what them
No,
thing, you know what them thing, man. Go on,
it's
man. Go on,
harvest.
man.
Yeah.
When me look on the bridging, may I tell us it's an African man me I look on, cause it's a black man me I look on, brother. Me I look on a black man I talk to me as a Taino.
So Dada,
Indigenous to this area.
are we talking about dark skinned people? Are we talking about people who farm different cultures in different areas of the world? That's what we're talking about.
We're talking
Because
about
dark skinned people, because we're talking, the chance are dark skinned people African, you know.
no,
We're
we're
all
talking
over the
about
world, you know.
we're talking about indigenous people in the Americas
Wait.
having a link to Africa.
Dark
But
skin
that
as in
establish
melanated.
that everybody come from Africa already. Remember that doesn't say everybody come from Africa. Yeah. So everybody have a link to Africa.
Right.
Right. So we are trying to move the argument now, and I say we are talking about Africans, we are talking about a certain
Geographical locations.
Yeah. We are talking about we are talking about geographically look at Africa, Europeans, we are talking about Asians.
Okay, all right.
So and the Americans.
In the Americas,
people.
okay.
Yeah, so
all right.
you know why we're not gonna say no. So when we talk about the Americans, we're not gonna say African. Yes, we know that already because we don't say everybody comes from Africa.
Right, okay.
So we not have to say them are African because if we are talking about the geographical part now, they're not Africans, right?
No.
They're
No.
in this
So we
geographical
say,
region.
man.
All right, okay. So carry on the
Yes.
reason why you say now when you say that. Go ahead. All right.
So we down to Maroons now,
Maroons we don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
Maroons.
The Maroons them now in Jamaica. Bingy mentioned the Maroons they all over the place. And them
Right, them all over, them
they
global.
have different
It's a
demographics.
global thing,
Because
right.
the Maroons them in a DR. Them crossbreed and come with three different people away. When I say the one them are Jamaica region, them are those African. You hear me say? Are those African them. All them retentions is African retentions. You understand? They don't have no Taino retention. It then dead out before they robbing the hills. Dead out.
Why you feel that? Why you feel that? So if the Tainos dead out, if the
No,
Tainos dead out, right?
not that. That's not so.
If the Tainos dead out, he might talk about specifically in Jamaica.
Yeah. But
He
that's
might talk specifically in Jamaica,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because the recorded history is that the Tainos went extinct, right? And that is why they resort to bringing in African labor, right? So what me I say
That's
is
what we
this.
learn. That's what we learn in school.
That's what we learn.
We learn in
So
school,
that's why
yes.
me I said, that's why we established earlier to say when we say the
what
word
is extinction?
extinct, it don't necessarily mean
Yeah.
that every member of the Taino community was eradicated. It does not mean that. You understand? And remember,
So Okavango, following that,
self-preservation. Say again?
following that line of argument, there, so say a place them current people there.
No, what I'm saying is,
No.
what I'm saying is, even though they were extinct, there were still Taino people still alive on the island.
Fine.
But below the number of what them consider extinct. So let's say, for example, you have to have more than 1,000 people to not be considered extinct. Them have less than 1,000 Tainos still alive in the island. Right? Just to use a number. Because we can research the number, right? So I'm saying now, human self-preservation is a primary a innate trait of humans, self-preservation. So just like how the Maroons, aka the Africans, who came and decided them now go undergo that oppression and undergo that hardship and dehumanization, decide to run to the hills, right? There were Taino people as well who decided them not take that the oppression there and run to the hills too. Because them know the hills too.
Yeah.
Same way. So when the Maroons now run to the hills and buck up with the Taino people, them start to coexist and survive in the hills together, brother. You understand what I say? So how can you say them not have no indigenous link to the Tainos?
I see what I say. It's not factual, not it's possible. Yeah, it's not.
But the
It's
Maroons said
possible.
it's factual. The
No.
Maroons who they transferred them history and them things say it is factual.
Dada. All right. It's possible that a one Taino could have opened at the bush and crossbreed with an African. But you know, because we can't prove that, right? What we know say, the overwhelmingly majority of them people there
was African.
Is African. And
the
culture with them practice, is African.
Right.
So when I say,
but
they are African, right?
Yes, I.
Yeah, and I am African too.
Yes, I.
But if you check DNA, the DNA,
it have different DNAs.
it has some different thing.
Right.
You understand?
Which is what Bingi allied to, which you allude to, which when him say, biologically, all humans are the same.
No, we not done this already. We not done this before that.
But that's the reason why you say no.
No, man, that's about we identify as.
Fire, then that we are semi-light, so we are say when you got genetic makeup now.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world genetic makeup similar, brother. It's just different percentages of the
man.
same genotype.
This is me I say, man. No, that me I say, man. Yeah, say. If you check with genetics, right? Right? You have a like that.
We mix.
Maybe you find little Me no know.
European.
Whatever you find, like, right?
Yes, you go find. Yes.
African, just African,
Right.
yeah,
But
fine.
that exists for every human.
Me no
There's
know,
no
me no
human
know.
what just carrying on one.
Yeah, but me I say, you go find like European and regular. So there are people who still 100% indigenous to where them come from.
You're mad, man. No, brother.
What do you
No,
mean?
brother.
No wrong answer. No wrong answer.
No, brother.
No wrong answer. But if you go in some place never cross with no other place and never about.
Yeah. The pygmies have never, the DNA is original.
More than that, Benjamin.
I'm just saying, as a group of people, and you could find a lot of indigenous groups around the earth that still have that original structure. But to name one of them on the top are the pygmies.
Yes, sir. So what you say now, Okavongo?
Yeah, I forgot what I say. But
you asked about the genetics.
Right. So I say, if I check, we can find look at that in your ways. So I say, maybe you never know. You can check a Maroon and find whatever and what I say. Predominant I first. Even though maybe you can find a 1% a European then in a high. Right? I feel
I probably look more.
Me do the test enough. You understand?
How much percent you have?
It's very small. I think I reach 10. Isn't it? Well, back to the argument, isn't it?
Can the results come show?
The test them fraud, man. The test them fraud. The test them rig. The test them rig for sure a certain results, you know.
You understand? Okavongo almost white. You understand that? Look at the man.
Nah, man. I light. You like it. You're from a light, you know.
All right, general.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 1%.
Yeah. Something
no
more.
So.
Maybe 1.5.
Yeah, man. But you're going to find that in the ones, them, man.
So me I say, even though maybe you can find that not the one, them. It's possible, right? So me I say, the one, them, the Maroon, them, retention.
Predominantly African. Right, we agree with that.
So
but
for them, I got identify as something where they not even have no retention to I have no. They not have no
But them have retentions to it.
What?
To Taino cultures and practices too.
Bro,
because
I learn about Tainos just like me and you. They don't have nothing with no Tainos. I be African. Look on them right now, African. Where they retain where them practices everything African. You understand? But them just push this thing about indigenous and rare. Them are African. You understand? And you see?
Again, that's why we define the word indigenous.
To me, them do that because they don't want to talk about what them do to the rest of Africa and them.
All right, what them do to the rest
because
of Africa?
Because they love going, like I said, there are some different people. Like there are some different type of people. Like them are African. Them are African. They run up in the hills them. They run up in the hills them from the slavery. Run up from slavery. Yeah. Fight for their freedom and then turn road and partner with
and deport.
Partner. I don't know, deport
with the slave.
Then partner with the slave master to enslave more Africans. And anybody will rebel. Maroons kill Paul Bogle. Maroons kill Sam Sharp. Maroons kill Three Finger Jack. Maroons kill Taki. All of the rebellious people them. And Maroons kill them. But because they don't want
there are some people who are not gonna follow the status quo or the regime that is established. And you have to get rid of those people. Everybody bring the people who support them initiatives and what them are deal with. So some people have to go, man.
You see this history of the Maroons, them sign an agreement to do these things, right? And them do these things. Right? Now, I am not in favor of those agreements and the actions what them do. I am not in favor of them, right? But what I'm saying is this. The treaty which them hold, right? The treaty which them hold, which safeguard them sovereignty, is a way out for us as African people. You understand? So yes, them do some disparaging things. Them do some things where should have never do, especially considering that them themselves was freedom fighters. Right? So that them should have never agreed to that. Right? Them should, and remember too again too why and next reason why them should have never agreed to it too was because them did a win. You understand what I said? Them did a win. You see it? So them do that, and that is a negative aspect of it, but out of negative we can bring positive, brother. You get what I say? Out of negative we can bring positive. So we know the negative what attached to it, but what we are saying is that the treaty that them hold would safeguard them sovereignty is a means of safeguarding our sovereignty to them.
Dada. Oh, there are treaties and all. There are treaties with them sign for sovereignty and part right no send back slave and get to the master and
Yes.
keep other Africans in advantage. So all that are free Africans.
Out
And that's
of
the treaty
Africa,
there.
because right under the treaty you establish sovereignty. Once you establish sovereignty, then no other sovereign power can have sovereignty over you until you identify your sovereignty, you know, brother. You go be a subject. You see me? For example, then, let me put it this way, right? As a Jamaican, we are subject to Britain, right? As a Maroon, you're not subject to Britain. And that is what I talk about.
Yeah.
Wait. Are the
Jamaica,
Maroons not
Jamaica,
governed by the land?
because
Are
Jamaica
the
are
laws
part
of the
of the
land?
No, them have them own sovereign rules. Them have them own sovereign rules.
Jamaica associated Britain because Jamaica are part of the monarch, right?
Right.
So when Jamaica comes and live with the monarch now, that gone,
Then
right?
Jamaica no look at the monarch from independence, brother.
No,
What you think independence was?
no, they don't look
Independence
at
is
monarch. The king is the state.
independence.
Independence that are
Hold on,
about them
brother.
still under the
Hold on,
monarch.
brother.
The king is the head of state.
Independence is the act of letting go of the monarchy. That's independence.
Them can't let go of the monarch when the king is the head of state.
Right. So that tell you that Jamaica is not free of the monarchy.
So that message you just said?
Right. So then
You say
that's why
the
we are
monarch.
say that's why we are say the Maroons are not under the monarchy.
What me I say, like how Jamaica have a level the monarch now. Then that gone. And then what?
So why we think it all different, brother?
No.
When them have it
The
independence, when they
treaty,
let go the monarchy, but then
the
still have it.
treaty supersedes the law of the land.
Yeah.
No. I don't know what kind of treaty we talk about. Because the treaty we talk about.
The treaty of
this slave man.
of
Me know
1738.
the treaty, man. Me know the treaty, man. Let's hear me out. The treaty was given to them by the monarch. And something where white man give them.
No,
Them
they fight for it.
to
They fight for it.
But some white guy give them. And I say, oh, this make them some kind of different thing. And Britain give them that.
Right, but
You
what
understand?
happens when you say Britain give them that? What it mean is that this is an acknowledgement by this sovereign state. They say, listen, we no longer gonna see you as 1/3 of a human or whatever, 3/5 of a human or whatever. We now identify you as sovereign people and have to treat you as sovereign people. And that is the acknowledgement of the treaty.
No.
Yes.
No.
And the treaty.
Yes.
But what does that mean in totality for the development of those people?
All over the world. Indigenous people all over the world. And then still treat them like whatever they want to treat them like.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Because these people, they
Yeah, ivory cannot put the eye them
to their vomit.
Yeah, go where you there? Them is like a dog.
These people, they write on paper that this is what it is, but then they go what they do and what they say is two different things.
The action.
And we see that all the time. So if you look at a simple example, see, Britain was a part of the European Union based on the EU treaty. But because Britain can't get to do what they want to do and violate human rights law, they move themselves from the EU.
How long we gone now? I mean, that's you know, we go there right now.
1 hour, Mr. on this.
So the treaty normally supersedes the law of the land, man, and take precedence, you know?
Dada, we don't understand.
So when Andrew come now, and I say, there's no sovereignty on Jamaica. Attack. He's only talking to appease his base.
Oh, this treaty. We are because it make with India. It will help Jamaica.
Oh, it will help Jamaica?
Yeah.
It will help, right? Because now, once you're a sovereign person, you safeguard your rights.
Control the resources.
You safeguard your rights. That means to say a person cannot just come and exercise any kind of sovereignty over you. So that's the first thing that we as a people have to establish our sovereignty. Wow.
If people are Ghana, not sovereign. Not their sovereign rights and indigenous.
The people of Ghana, do they have their sovereign rights and are indigenous? I'm not sure about that, brother.
Yeah, but in terms of the resources, in terms of the resources, they don't control the resources.
Ethiopia. Ethiopia.
Wait,
are they sovereign?
I want to interject here with a current topic. Right now, the Maasai people in Tanzania and Tanzania, they be moved by the government from the indigenous lands on Nguru, where they have lived for thousands of years, brother. They're displacing the indigenous people. Why? Because the Arabs them from the UAE bought thousands of acres of land for gaming. And the government is forcefully moving these people off their land.
Right.
A sovereign people, indigenous people.
Where is that?
I thought it was farming them by
So I don't know what kind of protection you really get when you are a sovereign people.
You identify them as indigenous people.
Indigenous.
When they know if them recognize them sovereignty.
Ghana is a sovereign state. Nigeria is a sovereign state. All of them are sovereign state. You understand? So
they don't control their resources.
Sovereign don't mean say nobody now got to real.
That don't mean that.
When you're sovereign, they want to run in. Ukraine is a sovereign state and Russia running from them. You understand?
No, that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that when you have your sovereignty, right, you know a person have to know how them deal with you. When you deal with your sovereignty. Yes, because you go defend yourself.
With what?
What do you mean with what?
Maroon can defend themselves?
Then do it already. What do you mean if they can't defend themselves?
Yes,
then do it already.
Maroon can't defend themselves. Then Jamaica police force now. No, they can't.
Then we do it today.
They can't try.
Then we do it today.
They can't try.
You say they can't try. They're not gonna try. They can't do it today, brother. Yo, let me tell you something. Yes,
warfare move from to defending now.
Every success what the African have against oppression was at great odds and great cost. When Haiti overcome France, France had the leading military in the world. And Haiti, the Haitian people, fight them using guerrilla warfare and conquer them.
Yeah.
So that's why Bob Marley said, have no fear for atomic energy because none of them can stop the time.
We've seen that all the time, man. Look how much here. Look here America spend in Afghanistan.
Yeah, but thinking that Maroons can defend themselves against America is madness. Maroons can't defend themselves against a gunman in Afghanistan.
So how the Taliban do it?
You're comparing Taliban to Maroon?
No, I'm asking you a question.
Taliban are a big thing, between hundreds of thousands of people. Maybe millions. That's what man. Well harmed.
I'm full of weaponry.
Maroon have my...
So that's all the Maroons have to do.
Where?
That's all the Maroons have to do.
What do?
Arm themselves.
Arm themselves with what? What is it from?
Women arm themselves with what?
Oh, you mean where arms come from at Jamaica?
Yeah.
Remember Remember, say them have gunpowder over 250 years ago, you know.
Delusional
It's
thinking
not
and
a
thinking
delusion,
everything.
brother.
No, Virgin.
It's not a
A
delusion, brother.
delusional thinking, Virgin.
So, all right, the Taliban, right? The Taliban, did they start off in those numbers?
Taliban, a big old thing, Virgin.
Did the Taliban start off in those numbers?
Which numbers? No, 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 start off.
The
I don't
huge
know the
numbers what
numbers.
them have
I don't know
today.
the numbers. I don't know the
The
numbers.
numbers what them have today, did they start
I
off with those
don't know
numbers?
the numbers.
Well, them never start off with those numbers. I grew them.
How much was the numbers they start with?
Me don't know the numbers what
You
them
don't,
start
you don't
with.
know the numbers either.
But it wasn't what them have now.
And
Because I grew
so
them.
you
Grow.
don't know the numbers though.
All right, the Taliban grew from 9/11 to the day. Them grew.
Taliban was before
Nah,
that.
the Taliban
I
was
agree.
there prior or
I
9/11,
know,
but
but I am saying
Yeah.
since 9/11, when
Yeah.
them become the main enemy, right? They have grown in numbers since that time to this time.
Right.
But even before that, the Russians them have to take with themselves from down there.
So this is the point where I make when I say to you say, when I say to you say,
But as far as we know,
Taliban
there was
started
always
out
an
with small
armed militia,
numbers
right?
and them grew.
Militia.
Yes.
The Maroons
But there was an
are
armed
those
militia. They
normal,
started
are
as
normal
an armed
people
militia.
living in Jamaica.
Right. So did the
Right.
But the
Maroons,
Maroons them
started
strap,
as
man.
an armed
Remember the
militia.
Maroon them strap up
The
them
Maroons
arm deal.
started as an armed militia. The Maroons started as an armed militia.
No.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
No,
You
they're
know.
not. They're not the armed militia.
Mhm.
Maroons
Then they never have
started
gunpowder.
as
They must have
runaway
gunpowder
slaves.
and gun in them
Runaway
time. They don't have
slaves.
gun
Them
to
started
start
as runaway slaves.
Runaway
Then they
slaves.
need to defend
Yeah.
themselves and them defend themselves.
Right.
Then
Right.
the armed militia that's
But me I say,
Them have
No,
guns,
no.
them
warfare
have gun in them
different
time.
now.
of
Warfare
course them
is
get
different
bayonet
now.
and musket, yes. Eh?
Warfare a different thing now, man.
Warfare
wasn't the
is
main thing, Ras. Our militia, their training specifically is based on fighting. The Maroons,
Mhm.
they had to defend their freedom. So they defended their
Them
freedom.
have to fight to do it. Them have to fight to do it.
Yeah, but we have to say, Dada, you have to talk about defend themselves now. Dada, if the Jamaica police supposed to go by Maroon now, police, me love it's so that me know.
Police.
Maroon can't defend themselves against that.
That's why I say at present fire. But I'm saying that they can.
We don't know their security status. We don't know them security status.
Well, that's a truth.
They can't
Them can take steps, brother. Them can take steps. They can take steps, brother.
Who not talk like the Maroon now? Small community, you know, man.
Confidence in
people, you know.
for them defending themselves.
All right. May I show you that
But
thing?
at some point, we got to be realistic, right? We got to be realistic.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a real
Because
thing.
that's one of the most armed community in Jamaica. I try fight against the government and we see what happened to them.
Yeah.
We see what happened to them, Dada. Tivoli incursion. Me know in Maroon they not armed like down at Tivoli.
But it's a different terrain. It's a different terrain.
Different.
One way in. One way in.
But the terrain
A guerrilla warfare, the Maroons them are use my youth.
Yeah.
Guerrilla
One way
warfare,
in and one way out. That's what them
Anyway.
outside the British man.
Anyway, we
But
don't
this
do
is
watch
such
them
a
with
big
that.
difference.
The British and the British was more sophisticated than the Jamaican in a warfare.
Right.
I do want to watch them because I don't want to see Maroon and say them are going to defend themselves. In this time right now. A June, people don't use now. June.
Even though the Maroon them a defend themselves, you know, see some man go cut down some tree what they answer them want. Lock the timber and the man them entrap them up there.
No. I said, no, that can't work.
But Yaga, you start the argument there and when you hear people say people where you want to say.
Yes. Yeah, talk the part, you know.
Say Yaga, because the argument just went total right or left and up and down.
It done, man. Wrap it up, man.
Not even remember what you want to say.
Say,
Yeah, man.
talk what started.
You don't remember.
Remember, man.
You don't remember.
I was started that.
Buju.
Them
Yeah,
say
Buju.
put you down there to over
Donation.
30 million. 30 million
$200,000 US dollars.
dollars. Yeah.
$20,000.
Yeah.
Maroons.
Yeah, man. You
Well,
know, and Buju has
when
been
you said it,
always.
as my question was what the funds going to be used for. So
Oh,
a good,
right.
as JT bring this point up now, a good investment in the fund would be the
Okavango.
defense.
Okavango.
Okavango.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
the
In
defense.
establishing
Yeah,
in
the defense
establishing the government,
of the
you see me?
nation, the sovereign nation.
Yeah.
So, based on my line of argument for the last hour, I notice them,
Development in a mining
In favor of
infrastructure.
them.
me not really in
We,
favor of the Maroon. You
we
understand?
know.
Yeah,
Based
man, we are
off
in
of the
favor of the
history.
Maroon.
Based off of the history. Based off of the history.
The history,
Yeah, based off of the history.
yeah.
Right, we overs, man. We are over.
Me not in favor of Maroon. I see them as African, and I see them as separatists. You know what I mean? They are segregation. You understand? Yeah. And if
Yeah, I'm not like what they
members
up
say
there
no,
and they
members
have
say
too much
no,
hug
a
up there.
Jamaican, you know.
And
Members say
hug
no.
is a part of the ritual.
You say? Okay. Dada, one
Yeah.
They
member
have to
say
go
no.
around the chief and tell the chief, say, yo, them for cut
Cut out
out
the
the hug
throat.
out of the
Cut
sacrament.
out the chantan.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Member say no, it's a Jamaican, you know, left guard 80, you know, but start the Asian Revolution, you know.
Bookman.
Yeah. Right?
Mm.
And
See.
member say no, when Jamaica
It's a
start the
African. It's a
start the
African.
revolution, yes, say no.
Yes, sir.
Catch them, you know. Start the thing.
It's
you
a
know, member say,
African.
yeah, man, I'm African, but you know what I mean, come on Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I will gonna
Yeah, man.
Too
Jamaica.
often we get caught up on Trinidadian, Jamaican, and Asian.
True.
You see me?
What me I say?
The
When the
item breaking
revolution
up though.
started, yeah. So me I
When the
say,
revolution.
when the revolution started at Jamaica, the Maroon them stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Taki revolution, you know. Start from Portland up and St. Mary, you know, go straight to Westmoreland, you know, and that's up 15 reach, you know. I cover the whole island, you know. And the Maroon them send fine and put it down, you know. So Jamaica could have be if Jamaica is free, you know, like Haiti, you know, that send off a chain reaction across
To
the
the
Caribbean,
Caribbean.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember say
From
in
we
the
not
them
go on a
time,
condition, worse condition than we are
Jamaica
going
a
on now,
bad
like
place, you
Haiti.
know. Jamaica a bad place, you know, for when Jamaica free, you know. A problem, you know. Jamaica 80 free. We are talking about. So tell the people over a long time and Maroon suppress it. Over and over they suppress it.
We agree, so
And
that is not a. We agree, so that is not a.
Mistakes were made.
Listen,
Mistakes
so
were
that-
made
we
and
are
lessons.
So since mistakes were made, they are wait on the apology from the Africans that are Maroons to the Jamaican
I
people.
think they uttered that.
Apologize to
I
killing
think they issued that.
apologize, no one ever do it.
think
Apologize
they
for killing
that.
G Finger Jack. Apologize for killing Taki. Apologize for killing Sam Sharp. Apologize for killing Mark Vogel.
I make the
Apologize.
chief nobody give me my passport in a rasta.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
man.
So, me see things. So anything that I go on with, not to in a Maroon thing. You know what I mean?
There are certain
Yeah.
things me like the customs. And
Yes,
I like the
because
fact that them preserve
African thing. It's African,
African
thing. So we like
ancestry.
it because it's the African thing.
or if
But
there
we
are
like-
certain things that needs to improve, like the eating of the pig that needs to go to the sacrament. See?
Yeah.
And the white angel that stand up right by the seal need to
They need to
go.
paint it black. You know,
Yeah.
movie angel, just paint it black.
No, man, just movie
Yeah,
Angel,
man.
man. Just movie entirely. Just movie
No,
Angel
but the angel,
entirely.
we did it, man. The angel,
Which
we did
one?
it. Yeah, them are angel, you know, man. Yeah, them are angel, you know.
Yo, a wing angel might matter about, you know,
Oh,
I'm
wing
pure.
angel.
What I mean? A
then
wing
yeah, them
angel.
now
No,
wing,
no,
man.
no, a wing, no, a wing, dada. Yaga. You know, a wing.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Well, it's a Griffin. That's some
Eh,
Greek,
Yeah,
that's some
man.
Greek mythology.
Yeah. An African thing that.
Okay.
Mythology.
Well, so broke off the wing them and paint them black.
Dash it
Yeah.
alone, man.
Yeah, man.
I'll put one statue at 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even culture.
I want
Kojo, please.
Kojo. Alright, Kojo.
I want a nanny. I want a nanny.
Yeah, put some
I want a nanny.
You really hear them where that fire.
The item breaking
Yeah,
up.
man.
Yeah, man.
Why breaking
Yeah,
up?
but-
I'm gonna jump out.
I was gonna say,
And a lot of development need to go on in our community still. A lot of development, the roads them need to fit.
But basically, because them is a sovereign nation, them don't really get a real
No, they no,
support
so
from Jamaica.
They don't get a budget from the government.
Them not get them might get a budget, you know, but them not get that kind of support.
Them not get none
Them
from
get
the
the kind of
government, man. You know what say? You know some Markichi tried up the one what they and them give Markichi. I think them give Markichi a memorabilia.
Yeah.
Seeing a hat and him a wear the hat. And the man where a the MP where a female I've never tried up there. And them I invite him up there all the time. And him see Markichi in him hat and start. I pray the man them I say, yo, I wanna give Markichi a hat, you know. I wanna give it up there, you know. I wanna go on with
Labor right.
Labor right.
Yeah, man, no
But then you're gonna go there, you go get it. You're gonna go there, you get it.
See, all them thing there? I don't like anything because them thing they all become political. Where
It is political.
You just see start look like
even the chiefdom, even in the chiefdom.
yeah.
Because in the before, see, the chiefdom before you used to have a lot of arguments and a lot of infighting going on, man. And this man come here now and stabilize it and you know, because even this man and the chief before, them
So
not
this
too
man-
see eye to eye because the elder them want to hold on for the real same way and they don't want new
As him young.
ideas and fresh
Yeah.
ideas to move the
You talk Maroon town, right? Me talk about.
yeah.
A compound.
Yeah.
I
A
come
compound.
right, yeah.
Up in a St.
Yeah, no,
Elizabeth.
because I
Yeah.
want differentiate because I know Maroon
Settlement.
see me here in
Yeah,
Jamaica,
man.
you know. Yeah. But you see the whole thing, see even with the Buju and them are going, all them they think there's some division thing, you know. Because there's some political side, you know, the match with the man make it look like say Labour fight against them and you know what I mean, a PMP I help them and the PMP I use it
Yeah, as a platform.
as a platform. So you see how they Buju them because Buju a PMP, you know. Buju a
Sure,
PMP. Yeah.
He's also a Maroon. First and
Sam, you want-
foremost.
So me want bonfire upon him, but no idea what. It's alright, look at you one next.
Yeah, man, I say come down, man. Do give thanks for the moment, for the reasoning. Just an impromptu reasoning, you know.
I love you know.
Yeah, just an
Yeah, man, I
impromptu
love them reasoning,
reasoning.
man. Freestyle,
you know?
man. I fight up like crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's an
I saw a
impromptu
reasoning for your
reasoning,
come. I saw a reason for your chat still.
The flow, yeah, man. So me love when they flow, man.
It a go happen, man. It
I
a
love
happen
when they
to
flow.
see. Cause
You know, when
it's like the ones
you
them,
know-
the ones that I said the thing improve, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that perfect balance short class. Thank you.